Hey, what's up guys? This is Youthman. In this video, I want to share with you my initial impressions of the Marantz AV7705 preamp processor combined with Emotiva's XPA-11, which is an 11-channel amplifier. Now before we jump into the video, if you're into home theater, audio, and video, hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you'll be notified when the next video drops. All right guys, in my home theater, I have a 7.2.4 channel setup. Now that consists of 7 floor level speakers. So I have 3 Klipsch La Scalas behind my screen. I have 2 side surrounds, they're Klipsch RS62 version 2s, as well as 2 surround back, which are also RS62 version 2 surround speakers. In between my left, center, and right speakers, I have a pair of SVS PB16 Ultra subwoofers. And for the point 4, I have 4 Dolby Atmos in-ceiling Klipsch CDT 5800C version 2 in-ceiling speakers. Over the past 6 months, I have been powering this entire 7.2.4 channel setup with a Marantz SR8012 receiver. Now the SR8012 is an incredible unit. It has a lot of power. It's got great processing. It handles Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, as well as Auro 3D, AirPlay version 2. So it's got a lot of features, a lot of power, and it's just been an incredible receiver. Now recently, Marantz introduced a brand new processor, their AV7705. Now this is an 11.2 channel system, so it basically can handle my 11 speakers plus 2 subwoofers. And so I thought this would be a great matchup for my setup. And I mainly wanted to find out, is there a great benefit in going to what we call separates? Now a receiver has a lot to do. When you're watching a movie, it has to do the video processing. It handles all of the preamp section, but it also has to amplify all of your speakers. And in my case, that's 11 speakers. So that's a lot to ask for just a receiver. And like I said, the SR8012 has done a great job in doing that. But I've heard from a lot of guys that have owned what we call separates. Separates is basically where you separate the preamp and the processor, or what we call a Prepro, with the amplification. And so you actually have 2 units. And what this allows you to do, number one, is to get flexibility. You can create kind of some combos to your liking. You can have even a preamp processor from one manufacturer, and if you wanted to go with another manufacturer for the amplification, you can do that. Another great benefit I can see from using separates is every time a new format, whether it be audio format or video format, say for instance, when DTS:X came out, or Dolby Atmos, and now the latest and greatest, the IMAX Enhanced. Every time that technology changes, in the past you had to go out and just buy an entire new unit. In my case, the SR8012 is a $3,000 unit. So with separates, all you would need to do is replace the preamp processor, which in this case, the AV7705 is, I believe, $2,100, or you can even get a refurbished unit for about $1,800. Now your amplification, that for the most part doesn't change. And so if you buy a quality amplifier, it could last you 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20 years if you take care of it and if it's a quality build. And since you have pre-outs for all of the channels, you can set up 2 or 3 or 4 amplifiers if you need to. But Emotiva came out with this really slick 11-channel all-in-one amplifier, so I wanted to give that a shot. And so I thought these 2 combinations might be a great pair. Both Marantz as well as Emotiva get excellent reviews, and they're both great companies. And so I wanted to hear in my theater room for the first time, how does a preamp processor along with a dedicated amplifier, how does that sound? And so in this video, I just wanted to share with you my initial impressions of this combination. And if you can tell by the smile on my face, it's pretty stinking exciting. Now, I just finished watching, I think, one of the greatest movies ever produced, and that's The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight has some incredible scenes. Of course, it's just a powerful movie. Heath Ledger was just an absolute legend in the film. But the soundtrack, the score, the special effects, the sound effects, explosions, gunshots, fight scenes, everything is just really, really done very, very well and mixed very well. And so in The Dark Knight, I watched the movie, and there were so many times that I just felt myself grinning from ear to ear. One of the things I really noticed right off the bat with the combination with the Marantz AV7705 and the Emotiva is my dialogue and the center channel almost has taken a whole new perspective. The dialogue in the center channel and all of the action that was happening in that center channel really has just opened up quite a bit. And it's almost more forward sounding than what I'm used to with just a standard receiver. And that's a good thing. Anytime that you can get additional clarity, additional presence in that center channel, that's awesome. And so I definitely hear that benefit in going with this combination. The other thing I noticed in this combination is channel separation is incredible. Definitely love the separation. It almost reminds me of the channel separation that I got when I reviewed the Anthem MRX1120. Now that's a great receiver as well. I ended up opting for the SR8012 for a lot of reasons. There's about 5 different things that I found beneficial to my theater and to my setup with the SR8012, but I do remember the Anthem had incredible separation in individual speakers, and this combination, this Prepro with the Emotiva, has that, and so that really excites me. The other thing that I really like about this combination is the lack of heat. Now, typically with my SR8012, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's got a lot of power that it has to deliver to 11 speakers. And because of that, Marantz has this big, massive toroidal transformer or power supply in the unit. And I'll be honest with you guys, it generates a lot of heat. It generates so much heat that I reached out to AC Infinity to see if I could get one of their cooling fans in for review. And so by the time that they sent that, I was ready to swap out components with this. And what I found with the AV7705 is you really don't need a cooling system. There's very little heat. Now it gets warm on the top, but it's not hot. And again, it's not having to handle that power amplification like a standard receiver would. Now the Emotiva XPA-11 doesn't generate hardly any heat as well because of the type of amplifier that it is. Typically, you know, your multi-channel amplifiers are going to be an AB topography, and that just in itself, typically a lot of times it just generates a lot of heat. With things like Class D amplifiers and I believe Class H amplifiers, those just are set up to where they don't generate a lot of heat. They're very efficient. And so I noticed that with the Emotiva XPA-11. Now, lower heat is fantastic for my room. For some reason, the air circulation in this room can get very hot very quickly. Add a couple bodies, turn on a couple of power equipment like an amplifier or a receiver, and this room can generate quite a bit of heat. But I've noticed with this combination with the Emotiva XPA-11 and the Marantz AV7705, I don't feel the same amount of heat that I do typically when I have my receiver turned on. And so that excites me as well. But the biggest thing that I love about this is the sound quality. There's something almost magical by separating that sound. And I've heard guys that own separates, they will swear by them. They'll say, man, you know, I'll never go back to a receiver. And I always wondered, you know, is that just hype? Is that just somebody that spent a lot of money on separates and now they're trying to justify why they like it? And honestly, guys, I don't believe that's the case now that I've heard for the first time a true separate system in my home theater. And so I'm pretty excited about what this means for my home theater. Because if I were to upgrade to something like this, whether it's the Marantz or a different unit, or the Emotiva XPA-11 or another 11-channel amplifier, I definitely like what I see and I love what I hear. And I can see that I'm already like, my wheels are turning. All right, okay, what do I need to do to be able to upgrade to some type of separates system? So if I do end up upgrading to separates, those of you that are my patrons, you will get first dibs on being able to purchase my Marantz SR8012 at a greatly reduced price. Now, even after watching The Dark Knight, I popped in several other things just to get even more fresh perspective of how this sounds, and I put in things like The Greatest Showman. Guys, if you haven't heard The Greatest Showman, I truly think that that's an incredible musical kind of soundtrack and Blu-ray. Now, you may be thinking the same thing I did. Man, I don't want to watch a musical. That's lame. Guys, I'm telling you, it's a phenomenal movie. It's got a great storyline, but it's got some incredible singing. And when you've got an incredible sound setup and what I'm hearing from the Marantz and this Emotiva, dang, it rocks. It sounded incredible. Dialogue, vocals, just beautiful. Channel separation, incredible. It's just a very, very good sound. Now, Marantz has always been known as being very musical. And so when you compare, say for instance, a Denon and their higher end, which is basically Marantz, the Marantz just has this musical, magical, whatever they call it. Some have even said the Marantz has a musical chip in it, and it's kind of geared for that. And I can definitely hear that in the Marantz. The Marantz has the best musicality than any other receiver that I've ever owned. I've owned some Onkyos, I've owned Yamaha, I've owned a Emotiva, an older UMC1, and none of them compares to the musicality that I get from the SR8012 and now the AV7705. And so if you're into music, if you love movies and music, man, I'm definitely loving what I'm hearing over the past 6 months with Marantz. Now, before I wrap up the video and share with you a few additional thoughts, I just want to give a big thanks to my patrons, and especially Winston Key. He's one of my patron subscribers. The patrons have allowed me to do some additional content and create some additional things and some perks for you guys so that you can help better support me and the work that I do here on this channel. If you're interested in that, I've got a link to my Patreon account down in the description below. You can check out all the perks that come along with being a Patreon of Youthman. Now, this isn't my final review on the Marantz AV7705 and the Emotiva XPA-11, but I just wanted to share with you my initial impressions. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm super stoked at this combination. I think it has a lot to offer. I love the fact that the XPA-11 is kind of like an all-in-one amplifier to power an entire Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, or Oro 3D system. And so in closing, man, I just want to say I'm really loving this combination. Now, one thing I am curious about is the XPA-11 does have a lower wattage per channel for the surround. So it's about 65 watts per channel. Now, there's another company that I just received an 11-channel amplifier from, and that's Monoprice. You guys have been asking for that, and so I'll be doing an unboxing, an initial overview, and of course a final review on that a little bit down the road. So I'm really excited about that because it offers a little bit more power for those surrounds. And so look for that video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you are, so that when I produce those videos, you'll be sure to be notified. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap up the video here. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, you guys be blessed, and we'll catch you in the next video.